Well, we are finally ready to tell you our big news because we have a little time to spare.
We're still trying to work it out, but we're pretty much like 90% sure we're going to do it. So
We're gonna
just dragging it out.
We're gonna get an RV and do the RV life for a little bit.
Yeah.
I believe I'm finally saying it.
We think we're going to try it out. We've kind of always kicked the idea around, even before we sold our house, to move to Florida. But now that we've actually finally moved halfway across the country, and we really aren't really enjoying ourselves here. It's pretty complicated. Maybe we should talk about that a little bit.
Okay, let's talk about that a little bit. So you guys already know that we moved from Oklahoma, where we've lived most of our lives, and we moved all the way across the country to Florida, and we have no friends or family here. Also, we're in the middle of a pandemic, and it's a weird time to be alive. I think everybody can relate to that. But you know,
it's a hard time to be alive, period.
Yeah.
I don't think it'd be much different if we were back home, except for the fact that we had friends and family there.
Yeah.
Even though we couldn't necessarily be comfortable being super social, we still had our neighborhood dive bar that we trusted people at. And
they had private events and
family is family, even
if
they drive us crazy.
and I think one of the main things is we had our home there and we owned it, and we don't regret selling our home. We are happy we made that decision, because without that decision we wouldn't have got to this decision, which leads us to the decision we're at now. We're ready for the next chapter of our lives, and I think also part of it is
we don't know what that next chapter is.
We don't, exactly.
So why not have it be flexible?
Yeah.
And the biggest challenge for anyone in this world is shelter, a home. That's your main expense. That's your main necessity. We can go 3 days without water in theory. We can go, 21 days without food in theory. But your chances of surviving without shelter are pretty bad.
Slim, and that's always been Luke's thing, is he wants to make sure that we have shelter and that we're provided for. So I think this concept, it may not come naturally to him, because he's a provider and he's a caretaker. He wants to make sure we have everything we need. I'm kind of hippie mindset. I'm like, hey, let's go live in a van down by the river. But that's why we're perfect together, because I always say I keep him going and he keeps me grounded. And that's really important in a relationship, to have that balance. But at this point in life, it's Luke's worked 15 years straight, pretty much, backbreaking work, restoring vintage cars, and he's leaning over, and he's already his back's a little messed up, and it's he's 34.
I've worked with people that are in their 40s and 50s that look like they're 80 and 90, because it's really hard, backbreaking work that's very unhealthy, toxic chemicals, lead.
That's just not good for you.
It's just not healthy, and I don't want to be in my middle years, in my 50s and 60s, basically dying doing what I do to live.
I don't know how he does it. I really don't. But he works hard. He works so hard for us and takes care of us. And finally, we're okay, yes, it's gonna be hard. We're not thinking we're gonna go out and get an RV and it's gonna be easy peasy.
Yeah, the biggest thing is we could probably do van life, which is a lot more affordable, but we have our cats, so they need space. So
yeah, that's our main concern, is our babies.
A Class C RV, so it's a smaller RV, but that should be enough for us. And you can find them fairly reasonable, from anywhere from $5,000 to however much you want to pay.
Yeah, whatever you want to pay.
So, we've been saving since we moved to Florida, trying to decide what we're going to do after our first year in Florida.
And then we've invested a little bit of money into stocks too, so we had that to kind of play with. If we need to, we'd like to keep that in there, preferably. The
biggest challenge to this is since I work on cars, maintaining an RV, which I know a lot of people have nightmare stories about, that's not a big deal for me. I'm handy, and in some ways it's one day I'm working on the house, and then the next day I'm gonna have to do brakes. It's that's not a big deal for me. That's not a big deal breaker. Do
you feel like it would be more exciting though, because it's your own stuff?
Yeah,
you're working on your own thing. Because how often a guy that works on cars for a living, you don't even ever get to work on your own stuff.
You don't have the energy to. You just don't want to, you
Yeah.
know? Like, I've never painted one of my own vehicles. I've owned 16 cars in my life and never...
you've painted so many cars and never your own.
Yeah, right?
See, that's... Okay, I'm not sure exactly where we're going with this video because there's just so many different things to cover. But I think one of the things is just like focusing a little bit more on yourself, because like you said, you've never gotten to paint one of your own cars. We've painted so many. You're busting your ass working for somebody else to make them money instead of doing things that make you happy. And it's like, it could be harder. It is going to be harder.
Yeah, it will be harder. And that's the biggest thing from this point forward, is trying to figure out how we can make ends meet on the road, you know, like.
We do have some ideas about how to do that. Basically, we're thinking like we'll have some savings to start, right? But we want to immediately kind of travel back to our home state, see some family and friends in a safe manner, and then, you know, pick up a few like little gigs here and there. Maybe I'll do a few cleaning gigs, maybe Luke will do a few handyman gigs. Then we found a guy on Reddit, and he referred us to a place called Cool Works. Maybe you've heard of it if you're in the RV or van life, but you can go to different resorts around the country and just work for a few months here or there. Sometimes they provide
like
you with meals.
Like, some of it's, working at resorts. Some of it's like, I think Amazon has a program around Christmas time.
Maybe on a ranch, you know?
Or there's another one we saw, like a beet farm for the harvesting season for beets.
But
where you're, you know,
that
like,
sounds so interesting to me. Like just moving around and working at different places, getting different experiences. I hate the mundane. Doing the same thing every day drives me insane. But, you know, it could be fun. It could be a good experience. And we'll get to travel.
Apparently this is getting to be a pretty big thing, especially now, I think, for people, because everyone's realizing the value of their time a bit more.
Right.
After being locked up in quarantine for us, like 4 months straight.
Yeah.
Like
not leaving
working,
the house at all.
And then I go back to work, and all of a sudden it's like time doesn't mean this. An hour is not an hour anymore like it used to be. So like I value my personal time a lot more than I did before. So now it's like, okay, watch our spending, figure out how we can live on the least for the most.
Right.
But it's more about experiences at this point. Like, we used to love going resale shopping all the time. We would
we loved it.
Go
it's
to
so
auctions
fun.
And, you know, like spend money. And we weren't like big spenders back in Oklahoma. That was our way of entertaining ourselves on the weekend, and I enjoy it and still kind of miss it to a degree. But so we're kind of breaking that pattern, but we're moving past it, you know, and like, okay, now rather than filling our boredom with buying things like a lot of people do,
we try to fill it more with experiences.
Yeah, but I say that, but we haven't had like hardly any experiences here.
Well, we have because you gotta break it down, all the things we've done. So we've been kayaking twice since we've been here. We have been to the nature park a few different times, just like hang out in nature, do that. We haven't really done a ton, but we went to a few different shops around here, like mid-century shops, and looked around. I mean, it's just, we went to the beach. You know, you couldn't do that in Oklahoma.
Typical Florida things.
So
that's the thing about Florida, I guess, back to why we don't want to stay here is just, sure, it's beautiful. Like, it's beach life, you know, but that's not really us anyways. I was never big on the beach.
Yeah, we would like try it out. We weren't really sure if we would be beach people, but we're really not. I mean, we've been to the beach a few times and it is fun, but I know some people that could just stay there every day, and that's not us.
Yeah, and nature for me, like, if I want to be out in it, it's not, I want to feel like I worked for a little bit, if that means hiking a little bit. To find a nice view that not many see. And
like I said, I mean, I don't know, I'm sure we might have been able to enjoy it a little bit more had we not been in a pandemic, but here we are, and you know, it's just what it is. But it's just, it's so populated down here, and Luke and I do like to be around people. I really like to be around people, but I mean, there's just too many people here. There's too much traffic. People, I would say, you know, there are nice people here, but it's just definitely, you don't have that Southern hospitality. People don't really open the doors for you as much here, say ma'am and sir. It's just like, it's not the culture here.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
And I like that. I like the, you know.
We like the slower speed, you know. That's just where
weird.
we're from, what
Yeah.
we're used to. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of potential here to thrive. You know, one thing I said when we first moved here is, like, you have to be hungry here.
Right.
And, like, I'm not a hungry person. I'm not always looking for the next big thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty easily content, you know, with things, you know.
Yeah.
So, to me, like, what I'm hungry for is, like, more me time,
Mm-hmm.
more me and you time.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I miss writing, and I can't write whenever I'm drained every day. It takes me the weekend to recoup, and by the time I'm recuperated, I got to go back to work.
Right.
So, like, there's a mental, I'm paying mentally as well as physically, you know.
And that's a great point, because, you know, to another point, it's like, we've talked to friends and, you know, family, and they're like, I can't wait till, you know, the kids are gone so I can go and travel, and I can't wait until this so I can do this. And we're just kind of honestly at the point in our lives where we're like, why aren't we doing this? We don't have kids. You can throw the cats in the RV and take them with you, you know, they'll be fine. Cats don't need a lot of space, and as long as they're with us, they're happy. But it's like, why don't we do this now?
Right.
I mean, it sounds kind of cliche, but we are not guaranteed tomorrow. And I want to go and see the world and experience things while we're still young. I don't want to wait until we're 60 to retire and maybe our limbs aren't working right anymore, we have arthritis, or I mean, whatever. I'm just saying, I want to do it now while we can enjoy it while we're young.
And then added bonus, you know, with climate change and impending economic collapse, you know, all that stuff, like, we'll be mobile. We can follow the work and run away from the floods and the fires and the hurricanes and tornadoes. Like, I mean, we're screwed.
I just feel like we can do anything together. I feel like we're ready for the next chapter in our lives. I really do.
Yeah.
I feel like we're ready for that. And I feel like we'll make it work, you know? We wanted to move to Florida. We moved across the country, didn't know anybody here. We made that work. Well, now we want to get an RV. We'll make that work, you know? And when the next thing pops up, we'll make that work, you know?
My dream is to move into some small liberal town in the northeast.
Maybe like
probably.
Vermont?
Yeah, maybe Vermont.
Bernie Town.
I want to work in, like, a hardware store where, like, you know everyone in town.
Yes.
And, like, make $12 an hour and live in my little RV and, like, slowly over 20 years build us a little, like, 2-bedroom little cabin on some land, and, like, be fine.
I love that. I love that so much.
Spend the winter months holed up in our cabin, you know.
I love that. I want to live in a smaller town too, like, where you know all the little old people, and I can go by and I can have, like, coffee with them during the day and, like, help them clean their house. And I want that. Like, I crave that. I crave that connection, but I don't just crave, we know a bunch of people and we can go to parties and say, like, I want to know people.
Yeah, we're craving, I think, is kind of what we both just described as community.
Yeah,
you know?
Community. There's a pretty large van and RV community right now.
Yeah, so that's something we're looking forward to, is that
getting
community.
to know everybody and sharing stories and experiences and sitting out by the campfire at night and playing games and listening to people play their guitar and sing and dance around the fire. I mean, I crave that so much.
Some people might know that experience too. Like, one of my favorite things to do, even before I was old enough to drink, was, like, if I was traveling and we were staying in a hotel, I'd always hang out in the lobby or even the hotel bars, you know, or the restaurants, and just sit there and talk to random people, like, oh, where are you from, and see what's going on, you know? Like, that was always fun. So then, living in a community of nomads, where literally everywhere you stop, it's people from all over the world, and that'd be cool, you know? That'd be a fun way to open our eyes to the world in a different way, you know? And again, we're not trying to make this all out to be like a sunshine and rainbows dream. We know it's going to have its challenges.
Yeah.
And
we know, like Luke said, there are challenges. There's things we're going to have to go through. We're going to have to probably pay lots of money whenever things break down and figure out how to work on things. And maybe, you know, oh gosh, there's not a grocery store nearby. Like, what are we going to do for food right now? And I mean, but that kind of excites me.
Yeah.
I like, I don't know. What am I trying to say?
a little bit of the unpredictability of it.
A little bit of unpredictability.
That's not too scary. Like, the worst thing that can happen is the RV burns down and we don't have anywhere to live.
Yeah, I hope that doesn't happen.
But like, that's what insurance is for.
Yeah, we do need to get our insurance. And, we've started budgeting and kind of seeing exactly what we would need to work to live instead of living to work.
Yeah.
That's something we are working on. Yeah. But it's going to give us time, like Luke said, to spend more time together and with people we care about and to do things that we love to do. I'm just really excited about it. I can't believe we're finally making this video.
Yeah, we've been kicking it around for a while, and our plan was to finish our lease up in February. But at the same time, it's like, well, let's start looking now, because if we find a good deal, because right now RVs are really hard to find, and they're really kind of inflated, just like cars are right now. Everything else is stupid prices.
It's crazy. Okay, the camera got a little hot, so I had to cool it down for a minute. Basically, we were... Oh, and you might be wondering why we're recording in the car. It's because we're actually going to look at an RV, and we're waiting for the address, so we thought we'd just record. But, like Luke was saying before it cut off, we're thinking about, finishing up our lease in February, but if the universe sees fit, we might have an RV before then, and just go with that.
I mean, it's... Just play it all by ear, right now we've been here 6 months, almost to the day. And
we said we'd give it a full year, but oh my gosh.
The thought of doing another 6 months is almost like unbearable. I
just feel like we're in such a purgatory here.
We feel like we're in limbo, which again, I don't think our feelings are original to us in our situation. I think everyone likely feels that way, but
we just need a change bad.
And, again, like, I don't want it to sound like we're experiencing anything different than the rest of the world, because I think a lot of you guys are probably in the same boat and looking for a way to get out. And best I can say is keep your head down, keep doing the work,
but look for opportunities.
Don't put your head in the mud.
Right.
Like, keep your eyes open, look for opportunities to change things, and take risk, reasonable risk. Like, try and be deliberate in your choices and look for things that will help you in the long run, and try surrounding yourself with those people too that will help you and not bring you down.
Exactly. Yep.
And as I say that, we have no one around us that we've literally
that is
haven't made a single friend in Florida in 6 months.
Because we've been trying to be really safe, but I think that is something that's really neat about here, is that it's just me and Luke and the cats, and there's no one to influence our decisions. Our decisions are our own. We decide together, and we talk to one another and make our decisions, and there's nobody there telling us, hey, you should do this, or hey, you shouldn't do that. It's just us. So we have no way to blame but ourselves, but also we know fully that it's really what we want to do. And I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we're very fortunate.
But that's our big news. We are going to try out RV life and see what it's about, and hopefully you guys want to see those videos and go on this journey with us, this crazy journey of life. And yeah, that's
cleaning videos are going to get really short, because you're going to go from cleaning a 3-bedroom house, 2-car garage, to a 2-bedroom condo, to a no-bedroom RV.
That's actually going to be really interesting. I want to try to keep doing the cleaning videos occasionally, because it's something that actually does help me. Like, I won't get too far into it, but some of you guys know I live with bipolar disorder, and cleaning really helps with those mood shifts and helps with anxiety. It just helps, like, having a clean place helps me feel better. So I still want to keep, obviously, a really clean place, and we've been decluttering, we've been selling items. That's made me feel a lot better about things, just having less, because I don't know, less is more. It just feels like that right now. I've been thinking about maybe like once a month, wherever we travel, if it's safe with the pandemic, maybe we can make it work, but like finding someone who maybe needs help cleaning their home, and maybe they'll let me record and clean their home, that would be something kind of cool so I could still make the videos. I'd really like to do something like that.
Yeah, you like helping people.
I do, and I think that's another thing I'm really looking forward to with the RV life. I don't know how people are out there, but I'm thinking like, you know, trading things and helping each other with favors, and I don't know. I hope it's like that. It'd be really cool. But that's pretty much it. That's our big news. We're getting an RV and we're gonna go live on the road. Oh, I can't wait. I finally talked him into it. After 9 years of being together, I finally did it. No, I didn't. We made the decision together.
Like I said, this is something that it's not a new thought for us.
Right.
We had thought about it before we even bought our house back in Oklahoma, you know.
But
We just want to have a really big, long weekend.
yeah,
And,
that's
you
all
know,
we want.
It might be
It's not too
something...
much to ask.
Yeah, it might be something we only do for 6 months to a year.
Yeah, we
and
don't
then
know
we
yet.
realize, nope. But
don't
the whole
know.
point is we want to get out and see more of the country. I can't say the world because we're not going to be able to leave the States.
Yeah, maybe we could go to Canada though,
Yeah,
because I have a friend in
maybe.
Canada.
Yeah.
My friend Kristen lives in Canada, and we have our passports. Just
Yeah.
saying, you never know. I don't know
Yeah.
how it is right now with the pandemic,
yeah.
but I'm just saying in the future,
Yeah,
maybe we
like,
could come say
If we get
hi.
our passports, we talked about it for years. We get our passports, and then like shortly after, the whole country shuts down.
I'm not even kidding. It was like a few months later, and we're like, really? Cool. But they're
The whole
there.
point is, like, I think in our heads, the idea is to be able to travel around and go see a lot of places we've never seen before, and actually try and find a new home.
Yeah, we are.
know.
We want to look for a new home while we're traveling.
But being, a new home, not like just a new house, but like a new place to call home.
Right.
Be it
We keep talking about
Vermont
Vermont.
or Portland.
Portland, maybe, yeah, something
I don't know about
that's-
Portland, but, you know, I mean, it could be in the middle of nowhere, Nebraska or Wyoming or
Yeah.
who knows. Like,
But that's the thing. We have these idealized versions.
definitely
of
not
these.
going to be Texas.
Not Texas. Sorry, Texas, you're off the list. But we have the idealized versions of these places, but we have maybe never been to some of these spots. And so we really want to, like Luke said, travel and just get to know the places, get to know the people, and see if it's actually someplace we love. Because I kind of didn't really know what to expect when we moved to Florida. And here we are, and it is different than I thought it was. So, you know, in good ways and bad ways. So.
For some reason, the Northeast kind of sticks to my head. Not New York, well,
maybe the
New York
outskirts,
State,
maybe the
but not
outskirts
New York
of New York,
City.
yeah.
You know, not
Yeah.
like Boston. Like, I would like to visit to see history, because that's really the only place the U.S. has history outside of Native American stuff, which I definitely want to see too. But like, see what it's like there, because I've never been further north than South Dakota, I think.
Yeah.
When we went and saw the eclipse, we hit the very bottom of South Dakota. We just barely crossed the border for the
That was
eclipse.
so fun to go watch the eclipse.
That's like as far
That was
as
awesome.
I've been north. Like,
Honestly, I think
I don't
that's as
think
far
I've
as I've
ever-
been too.
I don't think I've ever crossed the Mason-Dixie line, which is Tennessee, I think. I don't.
Yeah, we've been
went
to Tennessee,
but that's
but
as far
that's it.
north. So we've only ever really been in the South. So yeah, we are sweet tea drinking country bumpkins.
It's true. I mean, like I lived in Idaho before, and I've lived in.
We did go to Michigan.
Did we?
Yeah, Auburn, Indiana, and Michigan.
Okay, yeah. When he worked at
Yeah.
Auburn Corps-Duesenberg before this, we went for a big festival in Auburn. Yeah,
But that was like a weekend.
Yeah.
So didn't see much.
it didn't see much, but hopefully we'll get to see more. And I'd love to hit all 50 states, though. I really would, except for Texas.
We've already been
No,
to
we've
Texas.
been
We don't
there,
ever
so
need
we
to go
don't
back to
really.
Texas.
Well, your dad lives in Texas.
Yeah.
That's his dad, and then our brother-in-law
nephew,
Mikey and his baby Dee. So we might visit there, but just not right now because we're mad at you, Texas.
I mean, Texas is giving Florida a run for its money.
I
at this
know,
point,
right?
so-
It's just so funny to me that we lived in Oklahoma, and I felt like
Which
we were
is
constantly
not great
seeing
for
bad
being
news.
progressive. Oklahoma's 20 years behind the rest of the world.
And then we moved to Florida,
And
and
we
it's
moved to Florida, who is not necessarily 20 years behind the rest of the world, but they're trying to be 20 years behind the rest of the world.
it's just like, how can you get worse than
And then
Oklahoma? Move to Florida.
or Texas just jumped, 60 years behind? You know,
It's just so funny. But anyway.
we need to get north of the Mason-Dixie line
Yes.
soon.
Yes. I don't want no Handmaid's Tale up in here.
Yeah.
But Yeah, that's
This might
what
go on the blooper reel.
yeah. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get an RV and get out of here and just visit places and live our life. So hopefully you guys are excited to come with us on our journey. We'll make lots of videos and fun stuff for you to watch and enjoy. If you have any questions, comment below, let us know. And thanks so much for hanging out with us in our car today while we wait to go visit another RV. It looks like there's a little thunderstorm right above us.
Thunderstorm brewing behind us.
Yeah. All right, well, we love you guys. And if you are not already subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, and hit that little notification bell. Ding, ding. This is a bell. That's a heart. This is kind of like a bell. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.